The barracks were never built for comfort, let alone for the accident that was about to happen. The ceiling leaked condensation, the bunks creaked under weight, and the stale recycled air smelled of sweat and burnt protein packs. I'd survived worse: trenches, firestorms, a lifetime of commanders who thought human endurance meant disposable. But nothing prepared me for sharing a room with her. She was the kind of alien mercenary who walked through firefights as if bullets were rain. Broad-shouldered, scarred from countless battles, her armor plates clung like a second skin, and when she snarled, even officers stepped aside. Everyone called her unbreakable, untouchable. I thought so too, until I saw her blush. It happened because supplies were scarce, privacy scarcer. After a mission gone bloody, we got shoved into the same bunker to patch wounds and rest. She turned her back, muttering in that gravelly tone that always sounded like a growl. I was half unpacking rations when metal clanged, and I glanced up. Wrong time. Wrong angle. Her armor peeled away, piece by piece, revealing not just the scars of battles but the startling curve of someone more vulnerable than she'd ever admit. "Stop watching me change, human!" she barked, voice sharper than any blade. I froze, hands up as if she'd pulled a gun. I didn't. The excuses fell apart. Because I had been watching. Not in the way she thought, but in the way anyone would if a living legend stripped down 2 feet away. Her skin, normally hidden under plating, flushed a deep, startling red. Not just her cheeks, her entire face, neck, and even the tips of her pointed ears glowed like molten steel. I thought she was overheating. Then I remembered the rumors. Her kind didn't blush for heat. They blushed for emotions. Embarrassment, anger, attraction. The silence stretched. My brain screamed, "Look away, idiot!" My eyes betrayed me, flicking back. She hissed, clutching the chest plate to her front like it could undo the sight I'd already caught. "What's wrong?" I asked, because sometimes my mouth liked trouble. You invoked the bond," she growled, tail lashing behind her like a whip. "The bond?" Her glare could have melted steel. "In my culture, to see one without armor is a ritual. An oath. You claim me as mate." My laugh slipped out before I could stop it. Wait. You're saying by accident I just proposed marriage? Lady, I didn't even buy you dinner yet." Her claws flexed, scraping grooves into the wall. "It is not a joke." "Oh, I know it's not. It's a cosmic prank. You're telling me one wrong look and now we're locked into some ancient alien marriage ritual? That's insane." Her ears twitched. Her blush deepened. She turned her back so fast I thought she'd snap her spine. "You will deny it, of course. Humans always deny." "Deny? I can't even process it yet." My grin widened despite myself. "But hey, 5 seconds of eye contact and I'm husband material? That's the cheapest dowry I've ever heard." Her shoulders hunched. She muttered something in her language, low and sharp, probably cursing me 6 ways. I caught only one word: bound. Bound. The way she said it wasn't rage. It was fear. For a moment I dropped the jokes. "Look, I didn't mean to break your rules. I'll keep my eyes to myself from now on. No peeking, Scout's honor." "You cannot undo it," she said without turning. Her voice cracked on the last word, too soft for a warrior who could break skulls barehanded. "Once seen, it is seen. Once shared, it is kept. Others will know. And they'll think what? That we're bonded?" She didn't answer. She didn't have to. The way her ears flicked, the way her tail stilled, told me enough. In her world, it wasn't just embarrassment, it was commitment. I leaned back on the bunk, exhaling. This was the part where I should have been terrified, furious, or at least embarrassed myself. But instead, all I felt was the absurdity. One glance, one shout, and suddenly I was cast as Alien Husband of the Year. I couldn't stop the smirk. "Guess this makes us official," I said, testing the waters. Her growl rattled the pipes overhead. "Do not mock me, human! I'm not mocking. Just adjusting. You think I'm upset, but honestly? I've had worse blind dates. At least you didn't demand my kidneys up front. Her blush deepened again, spreading down her throat. She stomped into her sleeping corner, dragging a blanket like she could bury herself. I sat there listening to her mutter curses, smiling wider each time her voice cracked. The best part? I realized I wasn't the only one rattled. The unstoppable mercenary, the iron soldier, the one everyone feared, she was the one shaking over a human's glance. And that made her more real, more mine, than any ritual ever could. I lay back, folding my hands behind my head, staring at the leaking ceiling. The words echoed in my mind, ridiculous and binding all at once. Stop watching me change, human? Too late. The damage was done. She didn't know it yet, but I wasn't planning to stop watching. Not her armor, not her anger, not her blush. Not ever. The next morning started with whispers. Soldiers on both sides of the barracks hall gave us looks, the kind you give a couple caught sneaking out of the same tent. I didn't need a translator. Smirks are universal. She stalked past them with her head high, armor clinking, trying to pretend nothing happened. Except her tail betrayed her, stiff and twitching every few steps like it had its own embarrassment to hide. By the time we reached the mess hall, the rumors were already circling like flies over a carcass. A lizardkin gunner elbowed his buddy and said loud enough for us to hear, "Careful, that human steals armor right off you." Another mercenary muttered, "Didn't think she'd settle for soft skin." The chuckles rolled like thunder. I expected her to snap, to roar, to break bones. Instead, she slammed her tray down, sat across from me, and stabbed into her ration block with enough force to make the table jump. "This is your fault," she hissed, chewing like the food had insulted her honor. "My fault? You're the one who yelled ritual law at me like I just married the queen." "You did," she snapped. "Not queen. Worse. Mate bond is stronger." I took a bite of my own block, grimaced at the texture, and grinned. "Guess I'm really committed now. Do I get husband privileges? First pick of the blanket, maybe? Half your dessert?" She nearly choked on her drink. The red flush spread across her neck again, a beacon to the whole room. Every soldier nearby saw it, and the whispering doubled. By the time we finished, the entire hall looked at us like we were newlyweds on display. Walking out, I couldn't resist. "Changing armor, changing hearts," I muttered just loud enough for her to hear. Her elbow jabbed me in the ribs. "Shut up." We were sent on patrol that afternoon, side by side as always. Only now, every alien we passed gave us nods of approval, the kind reserved for bonded pairs. One even clapped me on the shoulder and said, "Strong mate you chose. She'll keep you alive." She looked like she wanted to sink into the ground, but I thanked him cheerfully, milking it. "You enjoyed this," she growled when we were finally alone. "Oh, immensely. Usually, people think I'm the weak link. But now, I'm the lucky human who snagged the galaxy's scariest mercenary. That's a reputation boost I'll ride all the way." Her eyes narrowed. "You twist everything into jest. You cannot understand the seriousness." "Try me," I said, softer this time. She hesitated, then spoke like each word was a weight. "The ritual is not symbolic. It is recognized. My people will treat us as one unit. If I fight, you fight. If I bleed, you bleed. If I lie with you, there is no undoing." I almost tripped on my own boots. "Hold on. That last part. Did you just—" Her ears shot upright, blush flaring so bright it rivaled a sunrise. "Forget it." "Oh no, I heard. You're telling me your culture not only thinks we're married, but also expects us to seal the deal?" She glared daggers at me, but her tail betrayed her again, curling nervously. "It is expected. But it will not happen. Not with you." "That's cold," I said, pretending to be wounded. "I'm husband by accident and already rejected? At least buy me flowers before the divorce." Her snarl echoed through the canyon walls, but underneath, I saw it, the way her hands shook, the way she kept stealing glances when she thought I wasn't looking. Later, when the patrol quieted, she asked, almost too softly to hear. Why do you laugh at this? You should be angry. You should despise me. Because anger won't fix it, I said. And honestly, it's hilarious. Humans trip into trouble all the time. But tripping into marriage? That's a new record even for me. She stared at me for a long moment, something unreadable flickering in her eyes. Then she muttered, "You are impossible," and marched ahead. The thing about impossibility is that it sticks. By the time night fell, the bond wasn't just rumor, it was reality. Others brought us supplies in pairs, assigned us double bunks, even called me by her clan name as if I'd been adopted overnight. When I pointed this out, she groaned into her hands. They will not stop. They will expect us to act like mates. I leaned close, whispering, "Guess we'll have to practice. For realism." Her fist nearly broke my jaw. But even as I staggered back, laughing, I saw it again, the flush, the hesitation, the tiniest quiver of a smile she tried to strangle before it reached her lips. It was then I realized, maybe I wasn't just teasing her anymore. Maybe, just maybe, the universe's dumbest accident was starting to feel like fate. Training drills were supposed to be simple. March, aim, shoot, survive. But with her at my side, nothing was simple anymore. Every move I made, every stretch of my arms, every time I adjusted my rifle strap, eyes followed. Not because I was good, because apparently I was the mate. She towered beside me, blades glinting, armor polished, and everyone treated me like the fragile ornament she'd chosen to keep. Halfway through sparring, one of the rookies grinned at her and said, "Careful, if you bruise your human, people will talk." That earned him a blade tip pressed against his throat faster than I could blink. The whole field froze. She hissed something in her tongue, sharp, guttural, final. The rookie gulped, nodded, and backed off. I touched her shoulder, murmuring, "You can't threaten to kill everyone who jokes. You'll run out of sparring partners." Her ears flicked back, embarrassed. "They must not disrespect you. Or me. The bond is sacred." Sacred, huh? That's funny, because I'm pretty sure half the base thinks it's mostly sweaty. She whipped her head toward me, blush flooding her cheeks again. "You twist everything." "Not everything," I said with mock innocence. "Just the things that make you squirm." She growled low, but didn't deny it. And that was the dangerous part. Beneath all her threats, I could tell she wasn't as immune as she pretended. Later that night, the mess hall turned our situation into entertainment. A pair of insectoid mercenaries set a bottle on the table and asked if we'd play Mate's Test. It was a game of dares, designed to measure how well bonded couples knew each other. She refused instantly, but by then the whole hall was chanting, wings buzzing, claws tapping, laughter echoing. I leaned back in my chair. "Come on. Afraid they'll find out you don't know my favorite flavor of ration paste?" Her glare could have melted steel. But the pressure was too much, and finally, with a growl, she sat down. The first question. "What is your human's most annoying habit?" She didn't hesitate. "He talks. Always. Even when silence is required." The crowd roared. I clutched my chest like I'd been stabbed. Ouch. Straight to the heart. When my turn came, I grinned. "Her most annoying habit? Easy. She pretends she doesn't enjoy my talking." The hall exploded. She slammed her fist on the table, muttering curses, but her blush betrayed her again. Round after round went like that. She gave the serious answers, I twisted them into innuendo. By the end, the insectoids declared us bonded beyond doubt, and someone even started humming a wedding tune. Walking out, she shoved me hard enough to nearly send me into a wall. "You humiliate me." "No, I entertain the masses," I corrected. "Big difference." She shook her head, but for the first time, I caught a smirk she didn't quite hide. "You are trouble. Best kind of trouble," I shot back. The next mission only made things worse, or better, depending on perspective. We were sent to negotiate with a local clan who respected strength but valued honesty even more. Naturally, they greeted us not as soldiers, but as mates. They offered us a joint sleeping tent, joint meals, even gifts meant for fertility blessings. She looked like she might combust on the spot. We cannot accept. This is rude to refuse hospitality, I interrupted, cheerfully shaking the elder's clawed hand. We'll take the tent. Thank you kindly. That night, inside the cramped shelter, she paced like a caged predator. You do not understand. Sharing a tent, food, breath, it all has meaning. They think we are consummating. I stretched out on the bedding with a sigh. Then we should probably make it sound convincing. She nearly ripped the tent open in frustration, but stopped when she realized how close she was to proving them right. Instead, she glared down at me. You are insufferable. And yet, I said, patting the space beside me, you're still here. For a long moment, she just stood there, torn between tradition and pride, fury and something else. Finally, with a resigned growl, she sat, back turned, armor plates clicking as she tried to put as much distance between us as the tent allowed. The silence stretched. I let it, because for once, teasing didn't feel right. She deserved the quiet to think. Then, just when I thought she'd ignore me all night, she whispered, Why are you not afraid? Of you? I asked. Of all of this. Of being bound to someone you never chose. I rolled onto my side, studying the lines of her back. Because I don't see it as a chain. I see it as a chance. Maybe the best I've had in a long time. Her shoulders stiffened. She didn't answer, but she didn't move away either. And in the quiet, I realized my jokes weren't just jokes anymore. The double meanings weren't always double. Sometimes they were closer to the truth than I wanted to admit. By dawn, we emerged from the tent to the smug looks of the clan. They didn't need proof, they'd already decided. And from the way her blush lingered as we walked out together, maybe they weren't entirely wrong. By the time we returned to base, the story had spread faster than plasma fire. The human and the mercenary had become a running joke, a legend whispered in corridors. Some called us star-crossed, others called me suicidal. She hated the attention, but the more she fought it, the more the rumors grew. Every blush became proof. Every argument, evidence of domestic passion. And me? I leaned into it. Because the more she fumed, the more real it started to feel. One evening, a delegation from another unit approached, bearing gifts. Not weapons, not supplies, blankets stitched for pairs, bowls carved for sharing, a ceremonial cord meant to bind wrists during festivals. She tried to refuse, voice sharp with indignation, but they insisted. It is a blessing for your union, they said. Refusal invites misfortune. Her jaw tightened. She wanted to fight, to scream. Instead, she accepted, and when the delegation left, she threw the cord at me. This is your fault. I caught it, wrapped it loosely around my wrist, and smirked. Guess we're tied together now. Literally. Her eyes narrowed, but instead of the explosion I expected, she sighed. Not angry, tired. You make light of everything. Do you not see what it means? My people will never see me as free again. I am bound. To you. I sat up, seriousness cutting through the humor. And is that the worst fate? To be stuck with someone who doesn't treat you like a weapon, or a tool, or a monster? To be seen as more than armor and claws? For once, she didn't answer with fury. Her gaze softened, a crack in the wall she always built. You are strange, human. Strange enough to make you smile, at least. Her lips twitched, betraying her before she caught herself. She turned away quickly, but I'd already seen it. And I knew then, the joke had run its course. This wasn't just about teasing anymore. The turning point came during an ambush. Raiders hit our supply convoy, swarming with plasma rifles. We fought back to back, as always, but this time something shifted. Every swing of her blade, every shot from my rifle, felt in sync, like we weren't two fighters but one. When I stumbled, she caught me. When she faltered, I covered her. And when the dust settled, we stood surrounded by wreckage, breathing hard, alive because we had moved as one. The other soldiers saw it. And their whispers weren't mocking anymore. They nodded with respect, some even with admiration. Bonded, one muttered. Truly bonded. That night, she didn't pace the tent. She sat beside me in silence, staring at the ceremonial cord she still hadn't returned. After a long while, she said quietly, "Perhaps fate has decided." I leaned closer, heart pounding. "Or maybe we did." Her blush returned, deep and undeniable, but this time she didn't hide it. Instead, she met my eyes and whispered, "You talk too much." I grinned. "Then shut me up." She did. Not with threats, not with fists, but with something far more binding. And in that moment, every joke, every innuendo, every ridiculous misunderstanding finally came full circle. The next morning, word spread again, but this time, neither of us denied it. When mercenaries teased, she growled less fiercely. When they called me mate, I smiled instead of dodging. Somewhere between the laughter and the fights, between the insults and the blushing, we had stumbled into something real. Later, as we walked through camp together, I muttered under my breath, "Caught in the act, bound by accident." She elbowed me lightly. "Bound by choice," she corrected. And for once, I didn't argue.